And welcome to the first edition. I don't know what we want to just call this Total Sports Live TV. I don't know what we're going to call it. We're going to come up with some kind. We're going to come up with some kind of name here. On I'm just gonna let's just call it, since we got the podcast, we'll just call it Total Sports Live TV. But this is the first edition with Harrison Brown of Sunday Night Sports. You can, if you don't know, you probably already heard of Sunday Night Sports because it's on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel, Sunday Night Sports. No space in between. It's all one word, Sunday Night Sports, here on YouTube. But since this is the first show, we got a lot of good stuff to talk to you guys about because we're not just talking about any particular kind of sport. We're not talking about any major sport. We're talking about arena football. The Arena Football League off season is here. It's been here for the past few months, and there's just been a lot of things happening for all you arena football fans out there. There's just been a lot of things happening, from player transactions to possibly a couple of teams might not or might be playing. And we had a coach just suspended a few days ago. So we're just going to get all into that starting now. And Harrison, let's start off with the new franchise, because I remember the last time we talked on the podcast. It was you and Noah Miller of sportscrave.com, and we talked about the arena. We talked about the Las Vegas franchise becoming the new one, San Antonio leaving, and now that's finally happened. So give the viewers an update on what's happening with the new franchises coming in and the one that could possibly be leaving that they don't know so far.
Well, there's been rumors swirling around kind of the AFL nation that Las Vegas might be a little bit behind on payments. The idea was Vince Neil originally wanted to bring the team in for 2016, but the team was brought in for 2015.
Hmm.
From what I've heard and seen from the team page and sources around the league, Las Vegas seems to be a pretty steady team. Tomorrow is actually their open tryout in Vegas. Uh, Aaron Garcia and Vince Neil were just on a recent news station talking about the team. Vince Neil was on ESPN radio talking about it. So the team seems reasonably stable at this point, but this early into a franchise before they've even hit the field, it's not good for a team to be having financial problems and maybe rumors that the team won't play this year.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned Las Vegas. I know when I talked to you many a times, I was excited to have about the team being in Las Vegas, because last time Las Vegas had an arena football team was back, but they had the Gladiators, and the Gladiators went to Cleveland afterwards. So Las Vegas has been a proven market for arena football to survive, but they have a new coach, who was a former player, so that also helps. They got the backing of rock stars, because we saw with the LA Kiss they had a backing of rock stars with the Kiss, because that's what they're named after. So right.
I think one thing with Vegas too is they have a pretty solid roster right about now. Like you said
Hmm.
with Kiss though, that's gonna be like a real different thing than what Kiss had last season. Kiss was on the really losing side. They had some talented pieces. They never really put it together, and that might have been a testament to the coaching staff, the owners, maybe just playing in LA got to some of these guys' head. I don't know, I wasn't there. But
Hmm.
you see with Las Vegas, they brought in Morgan, who was a clear leader on Los Angeles, even though it didn't really work out there.
Hmm.
They brought in D Webb and a couple other
Yeah.
SEC rookies. It
Hmm.
really could be a talented team this year. It feels like a team that has a pretty strong enough veteran core group, but also
Hmm.
the rookies that could be very solid in this league for a few years. And that's something Kiss
Right.
really didn't have.
Right.
Had a
They
few
didn't.
solid veterans, Morgan, Sammy Parker came in, eventually got cut. Their kicker, Kenny Spencer, was pretty good. But they really just never fully mesh. And I think that's going to be the key for Vegas. They just mesh a team together that's talented enough to win games.
Yeah, you're right. And with Vegas, you mentioned Donovan Morgan. If anybody saw the Fourth and Long series on AMC, he was a very key component in that team as a veteran in that locker room, and you saw many times where he would just get frustrated because he's not used to losing. He's with the soul. When they were in their run, there wasn't many losing seasons. It was all about winning. New Orleans was up and down. Nobody really remembers Donovan Morgan in his New Orleans year, shockingly. But as we saw that, and we hope. And you're right. This seems like this bunch that's in Las Vegas now feels like a different type of feel than it was in Los Angeles, where it's like almost Los Angeles is just like, let's see what we can get, let's see what we can try. We're just bringing I don't want to say that the organization did anything bad, but just bring in players to see what kind of like stick, like no really like thought behind
Yeah.
it. Like we'll just bring this person in, we'll bring Radden in, we'll bring Morgan in, we'll bring with a coach and Ron James, and then he get fired like 2 weeks into the season, and then went to Pittsburgh, if I'm mistaken.
No, Ron James started the year out as a free agent. They had
Yeah.
McMillan all
Oh,
season.
okay. McMillan.
Yeah.
See, folks, it's a long off season, so
Oh
you get
man, this
mixed up.
offseason's taking forever.
Right, you get mixed up with these things, but you're right. And then, but the good thing with, as I said, with Las Vegas is they have, as you mentioned, veteran leadership, and I think having a guy like Aaron Garcia who is just literally Trump, that's literally played in the league, to coach these guys and show them how the way it's done. I think can only serve good purpose, because you're not only going to have the voice of the players that are veterans, you're going to have the voice of the coach, and the coach can say, I've been in this position before, I played in these games before, I played in the Arena Bowls, I know what it takes to win.
I definitely agree. I think that's why Garcia was the perfect guy for the job. I think when you look at Garcia, he went to Jacksonville last season, and that was a problem. He only played against his soul. His offensive line got him killed, and then eventually he was traded out to Los Angeles. He's a West Coast guy. His family lives out there. Garcia's obviously getting older, and it's kind of time for Garcia to settle down a little bit. Playing this season really would have never been an option for him, but
Hmm.
like you said, he's so fresh out of just playing. It's a perfect thing because Morgan and Radderink have just kind of experienced Garcia's playbook out in LA. So
Right,
they come in already knowing the playbook and it'll be a similar like aspect between Los Angeles and Las Vegas because they're both expansion franchises,
right,
rocker owners, big city, a lot of attention, ESPN, they're going to give them attention. So it'll be a similar system with Garcia's playbook as well. That's
right.
definitely going to help the mesh of the team. And I think that was a great move by Vince Neil and all the owners out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely. And before we talk about the power, let's talk about San Antonio, because when Las Vegas came in, that meant San Antonio went out. So
Correct.
just update the fans and the viewers out there about what happened with the San Antonio Talents franchise.
There was rumors swirling around that the Spurs might have been interested in buying them.
Hmm.
The only thing I ever heard from that was San Antonio had a lot of former dues to be paid, which I can confirm that was their previous owner had not paid a lot of dues. There was people suing him, huge problems out there. There was no way for the Spurs to be able to eat all the debt and buy the team, and the
Right,
AFL wasn't interested in paying off all the debts. And these are just the rumors I've heard, but it does sound very reasonable, and it's come from pretty reliable sources.
hmm,
So it seems like the Spurs, it might happen someday, but all the league, all the former dudes would need to be paid off. San Antonio is a great market. I'm sure the AFL would really love to be back there. It succeeded even when they had a terrible team this year.
yeah.
So, if the fan base can come out for that and sign that big of a petition, I don't know if you saw that. They had like 1,000 or something
I'm not in a
signatures.
seated petition.
Yeah, they had a lot of signatures for that petition back in like August, and it could definitely be a successful franchise. They just need to get the right owner, need to get a talented group, and need to really show people like, hey, we're here for real now. So San Antonio is something I would look forward to for probably 2016 and beyond.
Right, and then, we saw San Antonio play in literally like the first week of June, and you can just tell that there was just a difference between the soul and the talent.
Mm.
Just player wise, organization wise, they were just, you saw two different levels, and it
You
shows
look at the
it shows
talents
that
though, and they did have
talent.
some talent.
Yeah,
Jeremy Schonenberg,
PJ Barry. Yep.
A local guy from Temple, a real talented offensive lineman, wound up signing with the
Hmm.
Storm earlier this offseason. Not a bad football player,
Right.
really could help that team out. Even Shane Boyd, and Shane
Yep.
Boyd looked god awful. He looked
Hmm.
terrible against the
Hmm.
Soul,
Yeah, he did.
really all season. But he's played in the NFL, and he's been a decent enough backup in the AFL. Another guy who could be
Definitely.
good. They had Michael Benson, their fullback. He went either first or second team All Arena. So really, I think one of the problems was that team just really didn't have much motivation to play. No
Yep.
owner. It couldn't have been going good with housing. You know, just everything there wasn't really happening for them. So it might have just been a motivation thing because they did have talent there.
Right. and it was also funny you mentioned the Talents because I think they played on like the final regular season weekend on CBS Sports, and they played the LA Kiss, and the Kiss just needed the win and just make the playoffs despite being like 3-14 or some like crazy record like that. It was bad, folks. And San Antonio somehow pulls the a rabbit out their hat to go out with a bang and just ends LA's playoff hopes in the final seconds. Just a crazy game, and hopefully they'll be able to get the franchise back in a couple of years. Let's talk about another team that had a very successful season. You might have said probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year. Offenses, just put up crazy numbers. And that's the Pittsburgh Power, 15-3 last season. Tommy Grady and those boys were just amazing. That offense they just put up was ridiculous, and a lot of people expect them to be back and be good this year and be next season, but supposedly they might not be back. Thoughts on that and what's going to happen? Because I've been looking on the AFL Players Union Twitter account, what they said. Lynn Swan and them, they only gave them a couple of weeks or a few days to move, and then people are waiting for a decision to come out in 24 hours because that's what they've been telling fans, 24 hours. And the Power fan base, they're kind of concerned because they don't want to lose this team because they feel very strongly about this team. I mean, the Power did get a lot of media attention from their own media in Pittsburgh. They had their newspaper covering them throughout the season. So it's a lot of things that this Power team did. So what's going to happen with them? That's the question that I think everybody wants to know in the arena football circle.
I'll give you a couple different things. There's a lot that goes into this. This has been very interesting to me because if you had said to me in August, all right, name 2 teams that will fold this season, I'd have said to you, I will move to the IFL and San Antonio will go, and New Orleans could be on shaky borders. I wouldn't have even thought Pittsburgh would even be in consideration.
Right.
Lynn Swan, Tribe Media, 2 solid owners. I mean,
Right.
Tribe Media is the paper up there. That's their big
Right.
newspaper. And Lynn Swan is like their Ron Jaworski, Randall Cunningham. He's like their guy.
Right.
So right then and there, you would think, all right, Pittsburgh, good sports city, decent enough proximity to Cleveland and Philadelphia, perfect spot. 15-3, good coach, great quarterback. So when they really went down, I was like, whoa, what just happened?
Right.
It took a little bit of looking around. AFL still has not commented on it. And before the AFL comments, a lot of times rumors are true, but until the AFL comments, nothing's finalized. There's been a couple reliable sources that have said, don't sleep on the Pittsburgh Power, not coming back. People have commented saying, they will be back. People have commented saying they won't be back. So really, it's kind of up in the air. If I had to guess, and this is kind of like a wild guess, I would say they will be back because, even with the eviction of the players, AFL players are supposed to be leaving the houses right about now unless they have their own house or they're on injured reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Injured reserve players stay in the area and get treatment from the local training facilities, and the team kind of pays for that, I believe.
Right.
The paying part.
Right.
So that's why IR guys would still get their house. Now, if they're evicting IR guys, that's a little bit different because when you start evicting IR guys, that's when you get into shaky business, and that's not really good. But the normal players, they probably should be getting out of the houses right about now. So that's where this really becomes less and less like, whoa, this is terrible, Good owners, quarterback, real successful team. Players Union has said they're monitoring the situation. They didn't say, oh, Pittsburgh's just folded, all players beware. So I really wouldn't sleep on them coming back. I know a lot of fans are really disappointed. And that's what I'd be. I don't know what I would do without my soul here in Philly.
Right.
But, I wouldn't sleep on them coming back.
Yeah, just like, hearing what you said and, just reading stuff, I have to think they're going to come back. They've been successful. You don't see successful teams just go by like that. Like, we're just going to just let you guys, you just fold. Like, you don't see good franchises fold. You see the bad ones fold. You see the teams that aren't successful, like as you said, San Antonio wasn't successful. You knew they were going to fold. It was just a matter of time. Iowa folded because not because they weren't good. They were a pretty okay team. They were average, but the travel costs, it was too much
Yeah.
for them in their area, they made, when we look at that, just even with that, they made the right decision doing that because they are around a whole bunch of other arena teams in the IFL where they're able to, the traveling won't be a lot for them. So when you mention Pittsburgh, you're right about that. Like I would have to bet with you on that one. I had to place like $1 million on that bet if I had it. Like they're coming back. I don't see no reason why. And you're right. It probably is just a little bit rough because probably everybody's probably trying to get their say in. Like this, which I
Yeah.
think should happen. This, what I think should happen. This, what a franchise should be doing. But you got to think that they'll let these players, you know, you gotta think that they'll do something with this team and keep them because they're still listed on the Arena Football League website. And then whenever the schedule comes out for the 2015 season, if they're still on there, then you gotta think that they will still be there because I don't think the Arena Football League, the AFL wants to lose three teams. Well, no, two teams. Oh, Iowa three. So yeah, I don't think they
Mhm.
want to lose three teams in one season. That would just be too catastrophic for them to pick up, especially
This
when they just got the ESPN three last season.
mhm. This schedule release is so huge for the league this year. I think last year we got it mid to late November, and people were like, "Why is the schedule coming out so late?" We're
Mm-hmm.
almost halfway through December. We're not there yet. We're still at like the 12th right now, but we're
Right.
getting close. It's shaky business. So, Adron Tennell, the new San Jose SaberCats former shock receiver, tweeted yesterday, are we playing football next year? I want to know. Am I training for nothing? Very interesting. That's not good to hear when one of your best players is questioning whether they're playing or not.
Right.
Um, from what I've heard, the schedule is pretty close to being released, but I heard that a few weeks ago. So
Right.
I have no clue where they're at right now because with the rumors on Vegas, with Pittsburgh being up in the air, like that could be anywhere. If Pittsburgh and Vegas go, I have no clue how they're going to align the divisions. They'd have to just go to two conferences because there'd
Yeah,
be
pretty
no East
much.
Coast teams. It'd be us and Cleveland in the East.
Yup, that's
That's
it.
that's not a division, you
No.
know. So they'd have to shrink it down to conferences, and I think that'd be like one of the first times the AFL didn't have divisions, and
Yeah.
they really need both teams back. But this schedule release, if we see Pittsburgh Power and Las Vegas Outlaws, 2015 could be a pretty solid year for the AFL. But like I said, if you don't see those two, this
Then
could
we
be
got a
one of the
problem.
really bad year for the AFL. So
Right. And then
huge hit
especially
whenever that schedule comes out.
right, especially as we said, we saw last season, we saw them on TV a lot more last
Yeah.
season. And that's so good for the game because I kind of compare. Funny, I kind of do this. I kind of compare the AFL to the NBA D League for the NBA. How both leagues are starting to gain that meteoric rise with the sports fan because they're starting to get on TV more. The D League, they're on YouTube, so all their games are streamed on YouTube. That's big for them, and they're on NBA TV. And they had Arena Football. They were on CBS Sports Network, and now they got ESPN behind them, so they're on ESPN three a lot of times, ESPN two, ESPN. I think they were on ESPN over the summer because
The Arena Bowl.
yep, Arena Bowl was on there, and then they were on ESPN Classic, so they were on all ESPN channels. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that as you said, you need these teams to be ready and come in and to keep them because they don't want to lose that partnership that they gained because then that can just hit the league really hard. Because there
Mm-hmm.
was a time where they were with NBC and then things happened with the league and then they lost NBC. So you got to be able to keep your teams and trying to keep on building your league to be better because this league can get better. I see where the league, if this league's been around since '87, it can still get better. There's room for more teams in this league, but it just takes consistency to keep this
Absolutely.
to keep it going. And talking about consistency, let's talk about the free agent signings in the AFL. Now, free agent signings have been kind of probably this month in late November. We're a little bit quiet, but when we first started free agency, things got right off and started shooting off. And the biggest one that happened, other than our Philadelphia Soul, by the way, the biggest one that happened was the San Jose SaberCats signing quarterback Eric Meyer from from Spokane, and that was just huge. for San Jose, but it just sucks for Spokane because without Meyer, that was their MVP.
You really look at Spokane's offseason, and it has been bad. If I have to say one positive thing, one of my AFL prospect, on the verge guys was definitely Warren Smith, Trenton Freedom quarterback, PIFL MVP, first team All PIFL. PIFL and the AFL they do have some different rules like the kickoff nets, but throwing the football, man, it's pretty much the same. And you look at his season, he reminds me a lot of Shane Austin, just a little bit less polished. Shane Austin really is a polished guy.
Hmm.
Smith could be that good, I'm telling you. He is fast, he's a strong arm, and he's a very good decision maker. You'd see Smith roll around. So that was definitely kind of compensated for Meyer, but geez, man. You look at Eric Meyer, uh, Adrian Thinnell, their
Hmm.
DB from last year. I think he was first team All Arena. His name's not ringing a bell right now, but that's three guys, and on an AFL team that only carries 24 and maybe one guy on like a 2-day waiver a week, you can't lose your three-star players.
Right.
Losing Meyer, they kind of made up for it. They're going to be a young team this year. They
Yeah.
really are. They're going to be almost like the Portland Thunder were last year, but they'll probably have like a little bit more success.
Yeah.
They're going to be young. They're just going to be fiery. So that's always exciting. But you lose three superstar players like that, you're in trouble. But for San Jose, huge offseason. They've brought in, like I said, Meyer, Adrian Tennell, Eric Crocker, real solid DB from Portland.
Hmm.
I'm sure I'm missing some people. So between the two, they've kind of just flip-flopped. Like, it seems like San Jose is always there. They had the dynasty back in the early 2000s, late 90s. Spokane, they came in the league and won an Arena Bowl in 2010. So really, they've just kind of swapped places almost. But both teams can be competitive next year. But San Jose, if there's one team that can take down Arizona next year in the Western, it's definitely San Jose because of the offseason they've had.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned San Jose, and now they have Meyer. So, do you think that we could possibly have a quarterback competition between Meyer and Nathan Stanley at quarterback? Because I mean, Stanley was after the season's over, he was in the CFL with Calgary for a quick cup of coffee, But he was really down here in the Arena Football League, and we saw Stanley play. He was okay, but he wasn't the greatest. But do you see Meyer pretty much being the starting quarterback in San Jose?
It's gonna be tough. I don't know if Stanley will be a San Jose SaberCat for much longer. I
Oh,
haven't heard
really?
anything on that front,
Wow.
but
Right.
definitely trade bait. When you look at trade bait, what happens in the NFL? Bring in someone, you trade the other guy. So
Yeah.
Stanley could really bring back some talent. He might bring back a good young player and probably a veteran starter. So if he does stay there, I wouldn't say Meyer would walk in and take the job. I'd probably say, their head coach would definitely look at both players. Meyer definitely has the advantage though because of how much success he's had, but you can never underlay. Stanley's been there for a few years now and he knows the playbook, so a
Hmm.
little bit of advantage. But talent-wise, I think Meyer's definitely there, and Meyer should be the starting quarterback.
Definitely. And other moves that happened over the offseason. Let's talk about the LA Kiss. The LA Kiss, they signed wide receiver Thyron Lewis, who was part of that dynamic duo in Cleveland. And they also signed Adrian McPherson at quarterback. McPherson making his return to the Arena Football League. Good moves, solid moves, nice, solid veteran pieces for the LA Kiss. Definitely a different turnaround than how they were, as we talked about earlier in the show. This past season as their inaugural season. Much better moves in the off season so far.
It's really what LA needed. Look at last year. They had J.J. Raderick and Donovan Morgan come in. Morgan probably a little bit over T-Lou, but you look at quarterback-wise. Adrian McPherson, he is a beast. He immediately comes back into the league and is an MVP threat.
Right.
He is just, he gets out of the pocket. Great arm. Here, sounds like I'm talking about Warren Smith, but this is a guy who's at the top of the AFL level, not just coming in. So you look at McPherson, definitely an improvement over what they had last year. They cut
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Guyton
Yeah.
earlier last week, and I was shocked. That
Yeah,
seemed
me
like a guy
too.
they wouldn't cut. Maybe something else, probably McPherson. They just feel like McPherson's definitely their guy.
Yeah.
Lewis, great pickup. They picked up a couple other guys. Royce Pollard definitely stands out as one of the other guys from Cleveland. So they're kind of rebuilding that team to be a really successful team. And you look at it from Cleveland's standpoint, they brought in Andre Thurman, I have no clue why that guy didn't stick in Portland or Jacksonville last year. That was
Oh
a
yeah.
mistake on both those teams' parts. Portland, I know they wanted to get younger back in camp, but you keep Thurman as your number one, and that offense kind of comes together like it did at the end.
Hmm.
Man, they'd have been a scary team. And
Right.
Jacksonville,
Definitely.
Jacksonville needed all the pieces they could get. Last year they didn't have a good season, so
They didn't.
no clue why he didn't make it on either of those. But Cleveland's definitely a good fit for him. They also brought in Jackie Chambers, real solid kick returner, real good screen guy.
Hmm.
So Cleveland, maybe they're going for like a different look this year on offense because
Yeah.
you lose Lewis, you lose Pollard. Those are two catch the football and score guys.
Yeah.
And Thurman, you leave Thurman in open space and it's over for you. And
Right.
I'm sure Jackie Chambers is the same. I never did get to see him in game. I only saw him in camp in 2013. But two real solid guys, good pickups. So it doesn't kill Cleveland, but great pickups for LA, like I said.
Yeah, definitely. Other moves that happened. The Orlando Predators got Randy Hippert. He goes from Tampa to Orlando. And then the Soul, they signed the likes of their big signings was James Romaine, the DB, Joe Gooseby, the Jack linebacker, and Dan Rodabaugh comes back after the quarterback. So talk about those two teams and their moves. Hippert goes to Orlando from Tampa. But Orlando already has Bernard Morris. And then the Soul, they bring back their key guys that they need to bring back to try to make the upcoming season better than it was last season.
I'll start out with Orlando. The war on I-4 just got so much more interesting. Randy Hibbert and Jason Boltis were both free agents. Boltis signs with Tampa Bay from Orlando. Hibbert signs with
Mm-hmm.
Orlando from Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
You want to talk about and that's been a great rivalry over the years. You want to talk about a really interesting game this year? Watch the first Tampa Bay and Orlando game. Tensions are going to be high. I don't know the backstory to it and why they would switch. For Boltis, good move. He'll be like their number one guy there and probably their only starting quarterback.
Pretty
He
much.
deserves that. He's a talented football player. I really like Jason Boltis. Hibbard, I'd probably say he'd be the backup. If I was a coach, I'd probably start Bernard Morris.
Yeah.
I really like Morris. Morris has been at 3 consecutive American Conference Championships. Hasn't put out any, but
Right.
a talented guy. So definitely a good move on the war on I-4. And then you come to Philly, it's been a slow offseason for Philly.
Yeah.
There's really been no whoa, I never saw that coming. The only thing really has been Wayne Tribune going to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That caught me off guard a little bit. I hadn't really heard anything about that or seen that coming, but
Right.
it's a tough loss for Philly for sure. You bring in him, Smith, and Breen. That's a real good line, and then you also got to think about Brendan Carvalho, who may or not be back.
Oh yeah.
So I don't currently know the status on Carvalho, but you bring in that line, that's a scary line. So
Exactly.
losing him hurts, but I really feel like Breen could probably go out to a tight end this year.
Mm-hmm.
That could really, if they do get Valo back, that's 3 really solid linemen.
Right.
Romaine and Gooseby, real solid pieces to back up the defense. So and the Soul do still have Kent Richardson.
Yeah.
You now have Kent Richardson and James Romaine probably on the outside, and Kaiser's going to need to come back to be that middleman. So really could be a great year at TB again. You got the best Jack linebacker. Kent Richardson's probably up there in the top 3 cornerbacks, and James Romaine's not far behind. And Kaiser's the best middleman maybe in AFL history.
Oh no, definitely.
So that defensive backfield, that could be a tough DBs to throw on. Rodabaugh, he was the best option for the Soul.
Yeah.
He knows the system. Clinton and him get along great, and Rodabaugh's had continuous success. He didn't really fall off last year stats-wise. I know people weren't as happy with his performance, but that's probably just because they were losing a little bit more. Rodabaugh is definitely the guy for the job. When you think of Philadelphia Soul football in this millennium and AFL .2, Dan Rodabaugh is the guy you think about, So,
yeah.
Rodabaugh was definitely the guy. 2 more solid years of football, I can guarantee it from Rodabaugh.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Real last questions for the Soul is a little bit more on defense. Like I said, Kaiser, that's probably their biggest question remaining so far.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Jones.
Yep, I'm just about to ask you about that. What about Tiger? Is he coming back? Like, what's going on with that situation?
I'd say yeah. I would think
Yeah,
Tiger would be back. I mean,
yeah,
I can't confirm anything, but I think he's probably going to come back. This seems like where Tiger Jones should be playing arena football.
for
I
real.
can't really I can't really think of anywhere else he would play. Maybe
Mm,
somewhere down south, originally from Alabama, but I think Tiger's a Philly guy. I think now that Rodabar, Clint, the majority of the core group is back. I think Tiger will be soon to sign.
right, because the fans just love as you mentioned this core group. The fans just love this core group. We've been at the press conferences after the game. The fans just love these guys.
hmm
They just love that blue collar attitude and how they're
Oh,
accessible to the fans. Like they're not just like, oh yeah, we're football players who don't talk to fans. No, these fans love these guys how the way they play, especially during that playoff run last year. The fans were just going bananas
yeah,
last
this is
season.
this is the core group for the Philadelphia Soul right now. They're doing their part to get younger though, which I do like
Yeah, me
applaud.
too.
They've brought in some solid PIFL guys and some solid rookies. One rookie I definitely want to keep my eye on this year, and all AFL fans out there, watch this guy this year. His name is Jake Metz. He's coming from, I think, Shippensburg College. I
Yep,
think it's like a
yep.
D2 or D3 school out in Pennsylvania. 6'8", reminds me so much of Teddy Jennings. You think of the year Teddy Jennings had, this kid could have such a
Mhm.
similar year. And then
Yep.
you look at our defensive line, you've got Teddy Jennings on one side, Patrick Scott, a very talented nose guard, playing nose, and Jake Metz on the outside. That's a dynamic defensive line that could be here for 7+ years. That really gets me
Speedy
excited about
defensive
what the
line.
Soul could do on defense. The only
Yep.
question with that is Brian Robinson, how he stands. He
Yeah.
recently commented on it, saying he's not sure what the future holds, but he wants to thank Philly for all the times. Questionable, definitely eye-opening. Local guy from Delaware, played at Wesley. Um, I think Brian should be back. I would hope he would be, but I'm not really sure where he stands. If I had to guess, at this point, after what I've heard and the article Anthony Carter from Arena Insider and Philly Soul Insider wrote, I would say it doesn't look good for Brian. But other guys they brought in, James Frazier, another defensive end, real talented guy from the PIFL. Scooter
Mhm.
Rogers, first team defensive back from the PIFL, and James Frazier and Scooter both won the PIFL championship out in Nashville. So, you bring in a good young core group of guys to go around the nucleus of this team, and
Mhm.
it's worked. Look at 2013. We brought in some young guys. Who's this guy? Who's this guy? You go into camp, you see him perform, you're like, wow, this guy's really good.
Right.
So I think that we're probably in for like a very similar season to 2013.
I hope
2014
so.
was a little bit off because
Yeah. Had a lot of injuries in 2014.
yeah, I mean injuries. You can never really blame injuries, but this year they look deep.
Yeah,
This
they
looks like a
do.
team that you look at that depth chart. You say, wow, that guy could start for this team. That guy
Yup.
could start for this
Yup.
team, and that's what you need. You need guys that can start and just really go all out. So definitely the Philadelphia Soul are back in contention, and as good as Cleveland was last year, I really think the Soul should be back to winning the division. But
They should,
also
cause
Pittsburgh,
we all know Cleveland got lucky. No way, no team beats you three times in 1 year. That just doesn't happen.
yeah, yeah, 6 buzzer beaters in a season. That's that
Yeah,
all three of
luck
those
was on
still
your
are sitting
side.
right here in my heart. Those hurt. I still have nightmares about
Right.
those games. But you look at Cleveland, they just all put it together. That was
Hmm.
a very similar roster to what they had when they went four and whatever it was. So that's a team that really just turned it around. And I love Cleveland season last season. As
Yeah,
much as
me
it
too.
sucks as a Soul fan, you
Yeah,
can't not appreciate going 17-1.
exactly.
So
And like exactly going like almost undefeated in any sport, you just appreciate it because you just don't see that often. Like you're
as a
just like
sports reporter and just a sports fan, that was a
yeah,
great season.
right because
And
you're
then
just seeing the
seeing them in
numbers.
person 2 or 3
Hmm.
times like I did, that's a fun team to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Especially the numbers, as you're right, the numbers they put up, you just don't see the type of numbers they put up. Like Shane Austin was just on another level. The wide receivers are just on another level. And the DBs are on another level. Like they were just putting up some historic numbers, and you just sat there in amazement. Like this team is just they're good. They're really good. And you're right. They put it together until they ran into the buzzsaw over another conference, Arizona, and they just handled their business.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even their fault. I don't even know anyone
Right.
who can beat Arizona. Like I said, it's like
Nobody.
San Jose or no one. I think Arizona could really win their fourth consecutive this year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They just look, because who have they lost? They haven't.
Nobody.
They
They just
haven't.
added. They just added
They
players.
lost Virgil Gray last year, and people were like, "Oh, that's gonna really hurt him," and it really didn't.
Then they add Virgil.
No, they lost
Arizona did.
Virgil last season in Pittsburgh, and then Virgil went to San Jose this year. Another great pickup by
Oh, he
San
went to San
Jose.
Jose this year. I know. Oh yeah, right about that. Yeah, but
But
you're right. They haven't really lost anybody. They just been
they haven't.
adding talent.
They brought in Mike Golick Jr., a guy who was in the FXFL, played
Yeah.
in Notre Dame. Mike Golick, the ESPN announcer's son. Really interesting pickup. But
Markeith Mays from Alabama, the wide receiver, added
yeah,
him. So they're just like loading up on just players. It's
you
like
look
almost
at
like the
that
Patriots.
team, and I
Just like
mean,
we'll just load up. We'll just pick up players, and if they can play, we're just gonna just load them up, and they're just gonna start falling out at you just one by one.
I'll be honest with you. The only way I see Arizona like not being as good as they have been is if Nick Davila goes up to the NFL.
Yep.
I know he's 29, but man, I want to see him get another shot. He had a
Me too.
mini camp in 2007 with Cleveland. And the amount he's probably grown since 2007, he should
Yeah.
definitely be an NFL candidate.
He
That's really the
definitely
only
should be.
way, is if they start losing players to the NFL and CFL, that they go
Right.
down.
Right. I definitely agree. I definitely agree with you there. So I'm excited for this season and see what else free agency has in store for us. And let's get to the last topic of the night, and that is Orlando Predators head coach Rob Keefe suspended for domestic abuse assault. That's domestic assault against his wife, I believe. They said, or girlfriend, one of the two.
Girlfriend, yeah.
Yeah, just not good news for me in football league. As we're seeing in the NFL, you know how these stories happen, and you're right. Just so many things for the league, with the Pittsburgh situation, the Las Vegas, and this. You don't need the bad news for a league that is starting to grow their fan base slowly, starting to grow exponentially.
I looked at this week's transaction wire and I said, wow, this has been a really boring week.
Hmm.
A couple guys hit league suspension, a couple guys who were rookies and had never played a game and just signed, these past few months went on other league exempt to go play on an NFL practice squad. And I was like, wow, this has been a really boring week, nothing to really report, not sure what to talk about. And then I was like, oh, wait, I know why this has been such a boring week. Pittsburgh folded a few weeks ago. Vegas is having problems. And Sunday, Rob Keefe gets arrested. So no wonder it's been a slow transaction week.
Right.
Rob Keefe, I mean, I've dealt with him on a personal level after a loss to Philadelphia when they were really in the playoff hunt. He didn't seem like a kind of guy that would, do anything to that amount. I was shocked when I heard.
Right.
Just shocked. I
Right.
mean, real nice guy, after talking to him, real likable guy. Um, but really, the AFL should have a no tolerance for it.
Right. I
Just
agree with you on that.
absolutely no tolerance for it. There's just I don't care what happens. If you're at a professional level, like the AFL is, don't hit your wife. You're the head coach of a football team.
Right.
How are you supposed to connect with a team after you get arrested for hitting your wife?
Right.
And the other thing to it is David Siegel, the new owner of the Orlando Predators. The AFL, the Predators are kind of not his number one thing. Westgate is his number one company.
Yep.
So, real great chance for him and Scott Buttier, the new commissioner, to just show we have no tolerance for it. Rob Keefe, enjoy your life outside of the AFL. Orlando could definitely find another coach if it wasn't for Keefe. There's plenty of candidates out there.
Oh, definitely. There definitely is.
Yeah, so Rob Keefe, he is not an important enough piece to put your, franchise, company, and name on the line. Not worth it for Rob Keefe. I would fire him immediately. They suspended him without pay,
Right.
but from the looks of it and from the police audio, no, Rob Keefe, It looks like he'll be innocent. Obviously, I wasn't there. I'm not in the courtroom with them or anything, but
Right.
from the looks of it, he's not going to be innocent. He's going to go down guilty. And the second he goes down guilty, I think Rob Keefe should get his walking papers from the Orlando Pride.
Yep. Nope. I totally agree with that because as we said, you can't have no tolerance for. We saw what happened in the NFL where the head guy and the commissioner not keeping it real when the player is keeping it real with him and he doesn't keep it real and tell the truth to the media when the player openly says, "I told you this," and he doesn't do it. Then it makes your brand look bad. It makes your league look bad. It makes you look bad as a commissioner. Fans are losing support in what you're doing, and for the Arena Football League, they can't have that happen.
Now,
Where
the fan
they're
base in the Arena Football League is not strong enough to maybe lose, Orlando
right,
fans and woman fans,
no,
female fans
no,
because of a
no,
domestic abuse.
right. They definitely can't afford. They definitely can't afford to lose that. So you're right. This week of news in the Arena Football League hasn't been a good one. So hopefully next week we have a better sense of what's of any. Hopefully we just get better news in general. We don't even care if it's like a player signing or something. Just something like that will just bring up our spirits because it's just been a not such. It's just been a bad week in the Arena Football League.
Next week is going to be one of the most important weeks in this offseason. I would suspect that they have to release the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how they could not release the schedule next week.
Right.
Because the week after that is Christmas. And the week after
Mm-hmm.
that is New Year's. And, once you get to New Year's, there's a month pretty much until training camp. 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
These players need way more time than a month to know their schedule, to know their, travel schedule.
Right.
When's the bye going to be? When am I going to get to go home? All that. When's the season start? So it has to come out next week. So I would suspect the schedule to come out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how Vegas' tryout goes tomorrow. Some news will probably be spread around there. So tomorrow is going to be a big day. Saturday and
Yep.
Sunday, usually not a big day in the AFL. Tomorrow is going to be a big day because Vegas has their tryout. Pittsburgh, the AFL Players Union said 24 hours. We're inching close to that now. I haven't gotten anything yet, but we're getting pretty close. We should know about Pittsburgh and Las Vegas pretty soon. So next week is huge. Next
Mm-hmm.
week tells us whether we have 14, 13, 11, 10, 8, 2. We'll figure out how many teams we have in the AFL next season, next week.
Yeah, definitely. That's something to keep. That's definitely something for fans to keep their eye on. And one more thing I have to ask you before we end off the show. What happened to the expansion draft for the Outlaws? It never happened. It seemed like.
I think it was supposed to happen in early September,
Yeah, but it just
and then it
never
was
just
like,
came.
it'll happen later this month. And then it
Right.
was
It just
like,
kept on getting pushed back and pushed back.
yeah, it's not good. Maybe it has something to do with this whole Outlaws, not paying their bills thing, but definitely not good.
Right.
I'm sure it will happen. I'm pretty sure last year's didn't happen until right about next week.
Yeah,
Next week or
that's
the week
about right.
after, but the AFL announced it was going to happen in September. So that made it a little bit more nerve-wracking, but really I wouldn't really stress about it because last year's with Portland and LA happened at about this time.
Hmm.
So I would hope to see it in the next few weeks, and that'll be definitely interesting to see who all the teams lose because last year some decently well-known guys went, so definitely interesting.
Yeah, definitely, and that's going to wrap up the first edition of Total Sports Live TV. It was a good one. It was an interesting one. Glad to talk arena football because we don't get to talk about it so often because their season is just it falls into the summer, so we don't get a lot of time to talk about the off season. This is like personally for me, Harrison's been doing this for a much longer time than I have been covering the off season. He's been doing this. He's a veteran. I'm a rookie to this, trying to get into my
Yeah, this is
sophomore
like
year of
my
this.
my third or fourth off season. I'm losing count.
All right, he's like a veteran. I'm just a rookie to this, so this is all new stuff for me. What's going on in the off season? Just staying and paying attention to all these things, and make sure you guys follow everything. I'm just gonna just run down just like a list of things in my head that you can follow all news. Let me see. You can check arenafootballleague.com for news, arenafan.com. You can follow Arena Fan on Twitter. I know that for sure. The AFL Players Union, they're also on Twitter. That's AFLPU on Twitter.
Yeah.
What else? Anthony Carter. Make sure you check out Arena Insider. Getting a lot of great stuff there. What's happening around the league as he builds his team of writers over there. Let me see what else. Oh, Harrison, make sure you check out Sunday Night Sports on YouTube. Follow his Twitter account at S&S. Was it S&S Sports?
SNSD Sports. Because
SNSD
we used to
Sports.
be Sunday Night Sports Delight, but that got too long. So we just changed it to Sunday Night Sports. It's
Yeah.
only three. You look at all
All
the
right.
great Comcast Sportsnet, Total Sports Live, Sunday Night Sports. Only
It
three
happens.
letters.
It
Forget
happens.
ESPN. ESPN doesn't count.
Yeah, we don't care about 4 letters. We like 3. Yeah, make sure you check that out. There's going to be a lot of great stuff over there. And as he said, Total Sports Live, make sure you follow Total Sports Live at Total Sports Live. Check out TotalSportsLive.com. Harrison is a contributor over there. He has done some contributing over there, especially with some minor league baseball. He's done a little bit of that. So, and hopefully, my plan and my vision is to cover a little more AFL. Just write about some news and notes and stuff. Bring more to the fan base. Give it out there to the viewers because as I found out, and probably as Harrison knows already, the AFL fan base is very dedicated
Oh, yeah.
and about their teams and what's happening. As you see, just with the whole Pittsburgh situation, they really care about what's going on and what's happening. So that's it for the first show. You also make sure you follow me on Twitter at Jovan10. Sorry for throwing two Twitter accounts out there, but I gotta do that sometimes. Just make sure you follow us on all those types of mediums, and this will be up on. It's already on YouTube. It'll be on Sunday Night Sports YouTube, and it will be on Total Sports Live YouTube page in a few. So everybody, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you hopefully in the near future.
See you in a few weeks. Thanks, Jovan.
No problem.